Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guitar Souls podcast. This is episode number 141, I believe. And I am one of your hosts, Mr. Levi Clay. I'm here with my handsome friend. It's becoming a catchphrase at this point, right?
It's getting that way.
You'll have to stay handsome for all time now. If you lose your looks in any way, I'm going to continue to call you that, and then people are going to call me a liar. So it's on you.
I need to start being handsome first, you mean?
My handsome friend, Mr. Mike McLaughlin. How's it going, bud?
I'm good, thank you. A wee bit tired. How are you?
Same, tired.
Big bit tired.
Yeah, big bit tired. In a shitty mood now, actually, because Mike came in and we were moving things around in the studio, and I had to move a radiator out of the way, and I booted the plug across the room and booted the plug right into the front of my mayonnaise, my custom shop Duvel. So that has a big dent in the front of it now. Not on the side, not like prime centre. It couldn't be any more in the middle of the guitar, could it? So
pretty much right in the centre of the top.
Yeah, so that was a good one. Look after your belongings, boys. Don't throw plugs around the room when you've got a room full of custom shop guitars.
Don't throw them about in general.
Yeah, generally speaking, that is good advice. So there's that.
It's insult to injury is or injury to insult, really, considering the reason you're moving the radiator is because you're getting rid of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it needs to leave. It needs to leave. And on its way out, its parting gift was that. So, and of course, I'm going to blame the radiator, the non-sentient being. It was.
You're an inanimate fucking object.
Yeah, fucking thing.
What a film.
Such is life.
You know what film that's from?
No.
In Bruges.
Oh, I've not seen it.
Oh, really? There's a bit where like one of the guys in it's smashing fuck out the phone, like smashing it to bits, and his wife says something like, "That what are you doing that for? It's an inanimate object," and he just screams at her, "You're an inanimate fucking object."
Yeah, that's probably good that you're talking about films like that because not all that much to talk about this week. Nobody wrote any fan mail in. I hope you guys feel guilty about that.
But I know why they haven't. They've all been away listening to the PaRtY-CaNnOn album.
Good point. We will talk about the PaRtY-CaNnOn album. That's going to be our first story as soon as we've done with the the ad read.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming. I'm trying to think if anything else interesting has happened over the coming week. Over the
last week.
The week that has come.
You burst your tyre.
Oh yeah, blew my tyre up. That was fantastic. Spectacular explosion of tyre there. That was fun. And my car doesn't tell me if I have low pressure in one of my tyres or if it's completely flat. So I just thought that I had a suspension issue because it wasn't controlling like you would expect the flat tyre to control. Mm-hmm. It just felt a bit kind of bit bumpy. But yeah, someone
your car's
had
a Quattro as well though, so you're probably not going to feel too much difference until you're steering.
Yeah, someone had to tell me I had a flat tyre. I was like, you know what, that makes sense. Thanks very much.
I can't slag you because I had the same thing. When I was working the security vans, we were driving down south, just on the motorway, just pedaling along. This guy comes up beside me and he's like flashing shit, and I'm like, "Who's this guy? The fuck is?" And the first thing you think of in a security vehicle is like, "Okay, let me keep an eye on this guy." And he's pointing at the wheels, and I'm like, "What the fuck's he on about?" And he's like pointing. So we pulled over on the hard shoulder. Obviously, he flew away, and then right enough, one of the tires were flat.
Yeah. It's reassuring though, isn't it? Like having a flat tire won't immediately make your car flip over, which is nice.
It depends on the circumstances. It could.
Yeah,
that's the lottery of having a blowout.
Sure. Aside from that, I finished Dark Souls. So
I've seen that. You got your platinum.
Praise the sun. Yeah, I got my
T-pose the sun.
Yeah. And that was fun. So enjoyed that. And now I'm waiting for the Dark Souls board game to show up. If anyone wants to play board games with me. Please play board games with me because I don't know anyone that'll play board games with me. So
I'll try it.
Come and play board games and have fun. And
I dare say Sean will play with you.
Yeah, probably.
Me, you and him?
Yeah. I've got actually, like, if you do want to play a really good board game, I've got Nemesis.
The Resident Evil one?
No, Nemesis. No? Nemesis it's essentially Alien, but without the Alien branding.
Oh, okay.
It is top tier. Top tier to the point where I've just been on YouTube watching other people play the game all the way through. Incredibly well designed game. Lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing that because I've painted all the minis for it now. So,
well, you know what? I'm down for that. I fancy that.
Yeah,
do that one night.
That'd be a right blast. Anyway,
that'll be a reet.
Did you know?
I did.
This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. I like Ormsby Guitars because I think that if I threw a plug at one of my Ormsbys, it wouldn't have a dent in it right now. Bulletproof.
And
Bulletproof Ormsbys.
the moral of the story is don't throw plugs.
No, the moral of the story is when you're buying a guitar, research how plug durable they are. Because I'm still blaming the plug, not myself. It's the stages of grief. I'm in the denial phase.
Yeah, imagine you go into the Ormsby website and the first thing on the front page is just plug proof.
Yeah, in the FAQs they should put how resilient to plug damage are these. Yeah, so I've actually I was playing the Rusty this week, and I did put the video up of me doing the review of it. And dire, just absolutely dire. I hated having to shred on camera because I just don't have the chops anymore. And actually, on reflection, my chops were never top tier back in the day. They were more than passable. But obviously, as time goes by, even if I'd maintained that level of chops, the level of expectation of chops on shredders nowadays is just terrifying. Just absolutely terrifying.
There are some really inhuman players out there at the moment, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So if
Roberto Barros scares me.
Yeah. If you want to go and check that video out, please do go and check that video out. But we're not interested in talking about what of mine there is to go and check out, because you guys just released, and I can actually say this, can't I? A critically acclaimed album, a 9 out of 10 in Metal Hammer,
which is fucking bizarre in my mind.
Yeah.
It's quite a big publication to give a brutal death metal album.
Yeah. Have you got the paper copy of the magazine?
No, not yet. I think Chris got a copy.
Yeah.
I need to go and buy one.
Yeah, you absolutely need to go and buy several.
I just hand them out. Look at this. Check this out. Look at that.
Yeah, because it is one of those things where if you have a copy of it, you'll lose it over time. Having a couple of copies just sat somewhere in a box, and then years from now, you'll be going for a box. You'll be like, oh, yeah.
Unless I buy a copy and just cut the page out with the review on it and just put it in a frame.
Frame it, yep. Yeah, I guess you could do that too.
Yeah, I won't, but I could.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that for you. That'd be a lovely way to.
What a gesture!
Probably won't do that.
Nah, it's the thought that counts, mate.
But yeah, tell us more. Volumes of Vomit.
Volumes of Vomit. Yes, it came out on Friday the 14th. On the first day, we had 30,000 streams, which is fucking mental to me. So big thank you to anybody that did check it out. And for those of you that have gave it a listen and reached out, thanks again as well. Got a lot of very kind words and high praise, including a couple of crazy voice messages from friends of ours from Austria, drunk, talking nonsense and whatever else. But it seems to be doing quite well. I've actually found myself going back and listening to it as well. I hadn't listened to it in a few months, just because obviously it was like last January that we recorded it. We'd heard all the mixes, and you can very quickly fatigue yourself of new music in that regard, especially your own stuff.
Sure. You keep talking.
So kept going, kept listening to it. I stopped listening to it for a couple of months. I put it on. I've listened to it like 4 times in the last couple of days, and it's pretty silly. Pretty silly how good it's went. A lot of people aren't listening to the majority of the album. Okay. Unless it's just not showing the plays.
I think
it must not be, because it was showing as at least 30,000 the other day.
Sure.
In plays. For those of you that are interested, here's the actual track listing. You've got Tactical Chunder, Grass Obliteration, which is Blazed and Confused, Nauseating and Unpalatable, which was the first single.
The first description of the band.
Very much so. Featuring Ross Suge from Exhumed, which is a fucking guest vocals are class. Don Campan from Waking the Cadavers on Grass Obliteration as well. Then we've got Naked Beach Frenzy, 60 Stone Threesome, which is my favourite on the album. If you imagine PaRtY-CaNnOn trying to play Defeated Sanity and not doing it very well but still doing her own thing.
It's a long one as well, 6 minutes.
Yes, it's kind of like techie, jazzy death metal with some groove. It's got a tuba bit in it as well, which is nice. 1000% is a very fast one. It's got a big crazy drum intro. Electric Soldier Porygon is one we've had out for a while, but we re-released it, and we've got Andrew Lamastro from Cerebral Incubation doing vocals on that as well, which is fucking banging. I Believe in Danny Filth, which is the one that seems to have the best music video ever, according to me.
Yeah.
And then The Dirty Bubble. So the crazy thing about the album is that, like, there are, 5 tracks that are at least 5 minutes?
Yep.
4 that are over 6 minutes?
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that that's not 1 or 2 riffs repeated. That
Sure.
a lot of the sections are wild.
Yeah.
So, I'm really proud of it. I
Decent
really am.
length, the whole thing, almost 45 minutes. It's
For a death metal album, it's quite
some
uncommon.
length. Yeah. You've got that could be a double album in the death metal world. You should have put it out as a double disc.
Well, we've been writing new music already. Obviously trying to work on just continual momentum.
Sure.
Along with all the other stuff we're planning to get out as we eventually, hopefully eventually, move away from coronavirus restrictions and whatever else. So we've got we've got 5 or 6 new tracks that we're working on, but 2 that we were messing about with in the studio. It was at Jams last night. We did one of them, and then Martin and Craig did the other, and they're a bit quicker, they're a bit more grindy, but there'll be good foundations for new tracks onto whatever we end up doing. So
I'll make a suggestion. I think you should do a follow-up to this, an acoustic EP with your favourite songs from this album, and release it and call it Collections of COVID. Volumes of Vomit and Collections of COVID. There's my idea. Just tossing that hat into the ring for you.
Sans sauce.
Chucking the keys in the bowl, as it were. Yeah.
I don't think PaRtY-CaNnOn would very naturally or easily transcribe to guitar to an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, and all the more reason that I want to hear it.
You imagine us with hundreds of gain on our piezo pickups trying to do pinch harmonics.
Yeah, this is obviously, like, there was no way we weren't going to talk about your album and put a decent amount of attention on it. It's one of those weird ones, though, isn't it, where you either like this style of music or you don't.
Very much so.
For those who, and our audience is split right down the middle on this. You are Marmite. You're just absolute Marmite.
And I'll take that.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that the music is very subjective as well.
Yeah.
Like,
I love seeing people that are really passionate about it. That pleases me. But also at the same time, I love seeing people so we had someone in the Discord server. I won't name him. Give the poor lad his privacy. We've been talking about listening parties and things, and he's been asking for recommendations on music to listen to, new music, because apparently he's not listened to any music since Metallica came out, or of that era. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I mean, I believe you. I know that you know what bands came out after Metallica and who were influenced by Metallica. I know you should be able to know loads of music that would be of interest to you. But cool, we'll throw suggestions at you anyway. And lots of suggestions were thrown out. And you know what? Credit to the guy. He went and listened to every single one of them and gave us feedback on them, which is you don't get that often.
that's some king shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And he says he doesn't like growly, screamy vocals. So Periphery were a big no for him. Didn't like Periphery at all. We didn't suggest Volumes of Vomit to him.
You probably shouldn't.
But when you mentioned that it was coming out, he obviously went and checked it out and gave us feedback on it.
No.
Yeah. Essentially, that was almost what he said. He came back and said, I'll be honest, Volumes of Vomit almost made Periphery sound like music.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That sounds like high praise. Chris will be writing that in his fucking his headstone. Put that in my obituary.
Yeah. So, go and check it out if it's your cup of tea. But also at the same time, go and check it out if it's not, because it helps the band. And it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, just expose yourself to new styles of music. Expose yourself to things, because you never know. I would imagine when you first started getting into rock and metal music, if somebody put a brutal death metal album on for you, it would have just been too much. No interest.
At one point in my life, Lamb of God were too heavy for me.
Yeah. And your ear just sort of tunes into it. And I wanted to argue with the guy that I mentioned previously, where he's bagging on bands like Periphery and saying it's all just noise. But at the end of the day, there's just no point. If somebody doesn't like something, they don't like something. I always take issue though when you get that kind of your parents saying, "Oh, this is just noise." They don't know they're just making noise. It's just never the case. Like there's an incredible level of detail going on in music, like Periphery's music, and the same with PaRtY-CaNnOn. There's a lot going on here, and it's just the sort of thing where you have to allow your ears to become accustomed to it, so you can start to hear the detail and hear the things that are happening. It won't,
definitely. Yeah,
you won't get it on first listen.
And part of that's the production as well.
Yeah.
There's an element of, I don't want to say not production, but keeping things raw.
Sure.
Like I don't think there's really any. You hungry, son? There's not really any editing done on this album.
Yeah.
Which, in my mind, is mind blowing because I think it's really tight.
Yeah.
There's not much fucking about with it at all, if any. Other than a couple of like punch-ins and stuff on the guitars. Maybe some in the drums, but 99% of it is as it is. And I'm really proud of that because although there are some parts that are a bit frenetic and a bit wild, that's part of it. That's part of the production. It's to get that natural feeling of the music.
Yeah.
And just when you're talking about people tuning their ears in, that's a big thing for me for death metal in general. There's a lot of death metal albums that I can't listen to because I haven't tuned my ear into that band's production yet. Suffocation are a band that I would really love to get into, but I can't listen to the recordings because there's just something about them that I haven't quite got yet.
Yeah.
And this might be the same for a lot of people as well. We kind of went for a blended approach, I suppose. We wanted it to sound raw and still have the nods to all the classic death metal albums and still have it fit this genre, but also a bit more production so that it was still keep them up to date and was still as listenable as it can be. That's me being really nice about it. It's definitely not going to be for everyone.
Sure. I
get that, but if you go into it open-minded and you can laugh at and or with us, you'll probably get some laughs in there. There's some silly quotes, there's stupid samples, there's riffs where you will go, what the fuck is going on? There are some vocals that sound like toilets flushing or someone pouring gravy down a sink. Like, go and have fun.
I think that's fair. I'll give it my review for everybody.
I wish I had 4 hands so I could give that 4 thumbs down.
I fucking hate it. But at the same time, I always make jokes like this, and they're not jokes. Like, I fucking hate it. But I'm so happy for you, and I'm so proud of you because you know what I mean. Like, I think it would kind of be like a lot of our listeners, like, describing, I don't know, an Alan Jackson album. They're gonna go, I fuck country artist. Like, oh, I fucking hate it. That doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the fact that I like the albums. I like all his music, and that it touches a lot of people. It's regardless of whether or not I'm into something, I can see the reception that it's getting, and that makes me really fucking happy for you. Which is
really happy to. Thank you.
Couldn't be better. So you've also announced a US tour.
Yes. So
if it happens,
I know we're out with Wormhole and Flub, 2 bands from the States, and we have quite the itinerary.
3 weeks.
Just shy of 3 weeks. Well, I'll read the dates. You want to bring the poster up if you've got it to hand? I
probably could have planned in advance for that.
No, that's all right. I like flying by the seat of our pants. We seem to do best when we do that.
It's what, March?
Yes.
Yeah.
March and April. I return just in time for Nancy's birthday, which will be nice.
Yeah.
It seems to be that any time I do any long tours, I miss something. The majority of the time, it's been missing the wee man's birthday or my mum's. So I'm glad that I'm making it back in time for Nancy's.
This is why 30th. You should defoo, as they say.
Should what, sorry?
Defoo.
What does that mean?
Defoo, D-F-O-O, with family of origin. So remove yourself from your family of origin. That's I defooed.
All right, okay, yep.
I don't have to worry about shit like that.
I've partially done that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Okay, I'll bring this up for people.
Yes,
Sorry.
So there's a couple of the venues have been listed incorrectly for the towns we're in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just been because things have changed a couple of times. Obviously, trying to book a tour in this climate is a fucking nightmare, so credit to the guys that did do so.
Just reel off the cities where you're playing.
Sure,
for anyone listening.
Baltimore, Maryland, Philadelphia, Durham, New Charlotte, I believe that is, Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, Florida, Tampa, Florida, Miami, Florida, Fort Walton, Florida, Nashville, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Lafayette, what's IN again? Lafayette, Illinois, I think. No, it's not Illinois. Doesn't matter. Pittsburgh, Rochester, New York.
Indiana?
Could be Indiana, aye. Providence. What's that, aye? I'm terrible at this. Boston, Massachusetts, and then Brooklyn, New York. So it's quite a big tour. It's quite good. It's plenty of movement. Never been to Florida, so it'll be interesting to go down there.
To be fair, I was trying to protect you from that by when I said just read out the cities. It meant you got to avoid the states.
Oh, sorry.
You
went
for the states anyway.
I was trying, all right? I'm trying. If there's anybody out there who listens and would like to catch up while I'm out on the road, you'll be more than welcome to come to the gigs. I'll do my best to try and get you in. Feeling that, we can go, come and play some guitar. You can have a beer with us. You'll probably get to play more than one Ormsby. I don't know if I'll be taking a second guitar or whatever, but the Wormhole guys are both Ormsby artists as well, and I would imagine they'll both be pretty cool with letting you have a hands on theirs as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be quite an exciting time.
Yeah.
And we've got like 1 day off.
But
But you know what? 1 day off is fine.
yeah, that's
It's perfect.
again, just really happy for you.
It's going to be good. I hope this is the start of momentum picking up again, because with everything in place, obviously Carlos has put a new album out on Gorehouse, signed to a few different management companies now, and touring agents, booking agents. So fingers crossed, this is where things start to get busy, and I mean, we might even get to the point where I can start making money doing it.
Nah, not literally not a chance.
I don't know as much, man. Like, I don't mean as in making money, as in like, woohoo, quit my job, fuck this shit. No, it's never going to be that way. But if I can go part-time, I would be fucking happy.
Yeah.
Don't see it happening.
Mate, obviously I've got my fingers crossed for you. I really hope so. But the thing
I'm
we see
optimistic,
time and
not
time
hopeful.
again is just people in bands constantly giving up the bands,
Yeah.
but bands that we've known for decades, where they're just like, it's just not viable anymore for us to do this. And I'm like,
But between that, it's not even just like the financial labour though, the emotional labour that goes into that when you do get like an opportunity or something happens and you get your hopes up and then you get shat on, or sometimes you don't even get a break. You just feel as if it's like you're just slogging uphill constantly with something heavy in your back. But I think, with no disrespect to anybody else, or like without saying we've done it a different way and we've done it better or whatever, like I think the mental approach that I have towards the band, and that it is a paid hobby, it's still something I enjoy. I love it. It's a labour of love.
Sure.
I haven't quite got to the stage where it's just like, this is too much work and I'm fucking done with it.
Sure. Like the podcast.
Just a bit with you.
Yeah, true.
Get on.
All right, I'm going to move on. So, continue on with this idea of listening party. We talked about Devin Townsend having a new album out.
Yes.
It's 2 albums actually. It's The Puzzle and Snuggles.
So I listened to The Puzzle. I didn't realise Snuggles was out as well.
Yeah, I got my hopes up actually, because new Devin Townsend, and The Puzzle was listed as chaos, and Snuggles is calm. The whole project is meant to express that I think there's light at the end of this dark tunnel that we've been through. 2 albums serve as a prelude to the more traditional album Lightwork, which will be coming later this year. He said that I read somewhere that Snuggles was supposed to make you feel good. It was a feel good album,
right?
I knew that Puzzle was going to be more noise and ambience, and my hope was that Snuggles would make me feel good. But no, these albums, what the hell is going on with my computer? These albums are absolutely just noise, ambience and sounds, and absolutely not for me. No.
Well, as I said here, that also we're looking at the Wikipedia, Devin Townsend's explained that The Puzzle is an elaborate and much more chilled out version of his 2004 album DevLab.
Yeah.
I'd mentioned DevLab a few times because I knew that was going to be part of it. I haven't gave DevLab all that much a listen. I'm not good with ambient stuff. I don't often manage to buy into it.
Play me a fucking song.
Aye, no disrespect to ambient parts in songs and parts in albums, and using it as a tool or a texture in your music. That I think is really interesting. In bands that, like, even when we were talking about like the guitarists and we were doing the top trumps,
yes,
we spoke about Michael Ackerfeld and his ability to put different textures into music and build ambience and stuff. Just as an example, like, I think it's a really useful tool, and Devin's really good at it as well when he uses the wall of sound as part of his music.
Sure.
But when I listened to that album, it was just like, I don't know, man, I felt as if it was like an hour of him putting sound effects over white noise.
Yeah.
Which, I respect the craft.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Just not for me.
It gives me the fear, because obviously I've got tickets for Devin, which I've still got a ticket for you for that. Come and see fucking Devin Townsend.
Okay.
The fear is that he's going to play Puzzle Snuggles type stuff, and if that's the case, I'll leave after one song.
I don't think he'll ever do anything like that live.
Yeah.
It's too...
Yeah.
It's not to play live. That is a project that's been opened in whatever program he's using, say Logic, and then he's pieced it together.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that kind of thing live.
Really had my hopes up for this.
Unless you're Robert Fripp.
And it I think the best way to describe this is like Puzzles and Snuggles. For me, I don't think there's anything wrong with releasing stuff like this, but I don't think of this as mainline release stuff. I think this is stuff that you just throw up on your Bandcamp. You don't make a song and dance about, and you probably don't do press talking about getting your fans excited for it, because I just can't see this being of massive appeal to your fans. And for those that it is, it's because it's got your name on it, not because they normally listen to this stuff. But of course, I could be talking out my ass. I'm not going to talk too much more about it. Of course, I'm going to say the same thing as with PaRtY-CaNnOn. Go and check it out. Let us know what you think. Write in. Send us some fan mail to GsolesFanMail. Let us know what you think about PaRtY-CaNnOn's new album, and let us know what you think about Devin Townsend, the Puzzle Snuggles. Let's top trump them. Which is better, or which is worse? Which is worse? Yeah.
Which hurt you more?
So this will probably please you. I think I prefer PaRtY-CaNnOn's new album over Devin Townsend.
So what you haven't done is play them both at the same time, because what actually happens is face cancellation. Then you'll realise that it's literally just I don't even know what to put in the middle. So I was going to say
you've done something incredible. You've done like a multi-layered. You've essentially you recorded an album, one album, multi-tracked, like 40 tracks, and then you
40. They're rookie numbers.
Yeah, you muted half of them and released that as an album, and then you released the other half. Devin released the other half. And actually, you're supposed to play the two albums at the same time.
Aye.
So you get the full multi-layer. That's actually an idea.
Maybe.
Terrible
Puzzle
idea.
And Snuggles go like that.
Yeah. No, because one's 65 minutes and one's 40 minutes.
Perfect.
But, interestingly, I think that this is a great way to close it. I think that while I think Puzzle is shit and Snuggles is shit, I think if you did choose to play them both at the same time over the top of each other, they would still be equally shit. Like, it wouldn't make it worse. It couldn't be worse.
They are as shit as the sum of the parts.
So, sorry, Devin. Glad you're putting stuff out and hope that it makes you some money, etc. But not for me.
I'm pretty certain the conversations about his upcoming tours are that he's going to be playing all of, I'm not even sure what album it might have been, but one of his albums he's going to be doing quite a lot of, and he was taking like suggestions for the playlist, I believe. But I might be wrong.
Yeah. Super quick one here.
Speaking of wrong.
Yes, super quick one here. Spencer Eldon's refiled his child pornography lawsuit after the dismissal. This lots of people were surprised when this happened, and that what that tells you is that I think we knew this anyway. What that tells you is that people don't read news stories; they just read headlines, and that's enough for them. Because we talked about the story, and we know from talking about it last week that the judge didn't dismiss the case with prejudice. He gave Spencer a chance to refile. He gave him a new date for refiling. So it shouldn't have come as a surprise that he did. I mean, it did come as a surprise because we were under the impression that he knew it was a waste of time. But evidently he likes punching himself in the face over and over and over again.
I think he just likes giving money to lawyers.
Yeah. Tragic. But yeah, we're not gonna. We've talked about it like 4 times on the show already. So let's not bother on that.
Another one.
Yeah.
Another one. David Coverdale sells rights to his music amid mass catalogue trade trend.
Yeah.
I didn't realise that he was going to do the same as well. Jesus Christ. Last year saw the rise of another surprising trend in the music industry as a whole lot of iconic artists sold shared or rights to their entire recording catalogues to various publishers. Earlier this month, the trend continued with David Bowie estate selling the rock icon's catalogue to Warner Chappell Music for an estimated $250 million minimum. David Coverdale seems to be the latest musician who opted for a similar deal. Blabbermouth reports the iconic Deep Purple and Whitesnake frontman sold all the music publishing, master rights royalties to Roundhill Music. The transaction's key acquisitions include recordings from Coverdale's solo career, as well as a share in Whitesnake discography, including hits like Here I Go Again, Is This Love, Crying in the Rain, Still of the Night, and Fool for Your Loving. Master royalty participation on Deep Purple recordings featuring Coverdale, including Burn and Storbringer, and Coverdale's music publishing assets and long-term administration rights for Coverdale's neighbouring rights income. No speech of how much he sold for?
No.
Nothing?
Because
not even a
just to be
speculation?
fair, yeah, with the David Bowie one, 250 million minimum, no one knows. No one ever knows.
I do love that they have went to the effort of saying a similar deal.
Yeah.
I'm not being an asshole, but I don't think David Coverdale was getting 250 million minimum.
You know what?
Whitesnake are big, but they're not.
Yeah, I don't.
David Bowie's back.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was going to say that.
Catalogue.
I was going to say that it won't be similar. David Bowie's back catalogue is huge. He's iconic. His music is legendary. But in terms of value that music has, in terms of syncing in adverts and things like that, I think that David Coverdale's Whitesnake stuff is probably more syncable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you're using a David Bowie song, you're using it because you want David Bowie. Whereas I think that a lot of songs like Fool for Your Lovin' or Here I Go Again, Is This Love, all of these songs would. I think they sync quite well in adverts.
Still of the Night.
Yeah. So there's potential there. Well, I don't think he will have got 250 million, but
Nah.
it wouldn't surprise me if it was 100 million.
Which is fucking crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. And I do, just to state this again, I do support this stuff. I think that doing this is the right thing to do. I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. Because what's the alternative? When does it change from being a good idea to a bad idea, or a bad idea to a good idea? Like right now, I own my YouTube channel, and it makes a little bit of money every month. Or I own the rights to my books, and they make me money every month. How much money per month would they need to be making for it to be a bad idea for me to sell those rights if I only had 5 years left to live? I just don't see it. Like, get your value out of it. It's his hard work, David Coverdale's hard work here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So selling that and having access to that money to be able to enjoy it makes a lot more sense than holding on to those royalties for to be passed on to someone else. So I'm supportive of this.
I had a wee quick Google there, and it seems as if nobody has put the price out. It's been undisclosed.
Yeah. I like David Coverdale. I like Whitesnake. Though of course I'm going to sound like a filthy heathen and say that my favourite Whitesnake album is the one with Steve Vai on.
Fair enough.
Slip of the tongue.
What was the other guitar? It was Vandenberg that caused himself damage.
Yeah.
Practicing too much, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just as a total beside, right? Adrian Vandenberg's signature PV.
Right.
I wanted one. I still want one.
Yeah.
You don't think is it the V-type they called it?
The
weird super strat shape with the cutouts on it.
Tell me about it.
You never seen the Vandenberg? It's a 24 fret super strat shredder, reverse headstock, kind of pointy, and then like a super strat body, but it's got weird cuts in the bevels. Look at it in pink. Come on, tell me. Look at it. When did this come out? 80s, 90s maybe?
This one?
Aye. Well, the picture it with a black background shows it in a more accurate colour. It's kind of more pastel pink than it is bright.
Sure.
Look at that. Come on.
Hang on, give me a second.
Is this love? Oh, absolutely rigid. And at the time when everybody was talking about fucking things like, is it the Kramer Night Swans and whatever else? And I'm like, nah, fuck up. V-type is the real deal.
Yeah, I'm not here for that.
That's okay, you're allowed to be wrong. PV released a version of it. I think it was at the Rotor series they did, which wasn't as nice. It was a version like that, but it had the Christmas tape binding is the best way to describe it. The cheap looking mother of pearl.
Sure. That's not
mint it. Absolutely mint it. Anything else you've got to say is wrong.
Yeah, I wonder what they go for.
They actually are quite a good collector's piece. People seem to go for them.
Yeah. It's this page that's causing problems in my Chrome. I'm expecting it to make something crash in a second.
Yeah, poor Levi's computer's having a bit of a hissy fit. This is what happens when you don't restart your computer often. How long's it been running for?
It has been running for an embarrassingly long time, but there is a good reason for it, right? My computer's going through it's having troubles, and the troubles that it's having are undiagnosable, apparently. Right, I thought that it was a hard drive issue that was causing it to fail to boot, so I cloned the hard drive as a backup. That's the original faulty one, and I've got a cloned version in there.
You moved on to an NVMe drive, didn't you?
I've got that, but I've still not used it.
Right.
So everything is installed on the solid state drive that's in there.
Yep.
I've got 2 solid state drives in there, but yeah, it keeps failing to boot. And it seems to fail to boot every single time time there's a Windows update, and when I go to turn it off now, it's telling me there's a Windows update, and I'm like, I'd really rather not come in tomorrow and then have to go through a 2-hour process of trying to do things to get my computer to actually start.
That's fair enough. Have you got Windows installed in any other drives, or had it installed in any other drives? Because sometimes that can be the pain in the arse if it's trying to find registry and it's picking up that like there's an older version of Windows that's maybe there. No.
We thought that might have been it because the way that we managed to get it to boot consistently with my PC guy was that hard drive needed to be unplugged, which is why the side of the computer is off currently, so I could unplug it.
Is it maybe an issue with your SATA controller?
I wish I don't fucking know. But point is, it's stressful coming in and having work to do, and my computer not wanting to go on. So yeah, it's that.
I think what you maybe need to do is just buy a whole other computer.
There's so much money in this computer.
I know, but you can move all the parts over. But see
Yeah.
if you can just get a working platform and then start to move things over as you need to.
Yeah. I know I'm going to need to do it. Okay, super quick one here. So Fender Custom Shop, Terry Kath Telecaster pays tribute to late Chicago guitarist. I'm not going to pretend that I know who this is.
I don't know who Terry Kath is either, but it's quite a cool Telecaster.
I just wanted to bring it up just for a second because I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's hideous. It's absolutely...
But it's got a trem. It's also got the bridge plate for the pickup, which is really weird.
Yeah, like a proper telly bridge plate type thing.
It doesn't have access for the truss rod at the top of the neck.
Yep.
It's at the base of the neck, but it looks like it's got a cutout for it.
Does
And it's
look
got
like
a
that,
humbucker in the neck and an uncovered cable route.
Yep.
And then whatever stickers have been put on it and what looks like the squares that come round those whatever round stickers are on the fucking guitar. It's cool. It's really cool. It's is it cool?
I don't think it's cool, but I thought it was very, very interesting because you talked about every single thing on there apart from the Native American.
And that too.
On there, right? And I just thought that was really interesting in a time, in the social and political time that we're in now, where sports teams are being forced to change their name from things like Redskins, and butter brands are having to take Native Americans off the packaging and things. I thought it was really, really interesting to reproduce this and put that out. It just surprises me that I don't think it will happen because there's only 50 of these being made. But if this was a little bit more widespread, this is the sort of thing that people would get annoyed about.
I think they would be being overly pernickety to get upset about
shock horror.
The inclusion of a sticker that's been on a guitar that's a copy relic of someone else's. I don't actually know what it says.
It says Black Hawks.
Black Hawks.
Yeah. So
you ever seen that news reporter trying to say Black Hawk and she says Black Cock like 3 times? It's fucking so funny, man. Black Hawk Black Hawk helicopter. What Joy sent.
I'm just having a quick look to see if there's any info on it. I can't see any info on it. It just seems like a strange thing to.
Oh,
what?
Something to do with Chicago, the band.
£18,000 for one of those.
Damn.
So that's a lot. That's a lot of money. I don't know if I would pay that for that.
But let's be honest, the majority of these guitars are designed for a very limited market, but the kind of market that will go out and snap these things up.
Sure.
Which is why they're so limited and so heavily priced.
Yeah.
And when Fender do go to that effort, they will find someone to buy them.
Yeah. Gibson
are the same.
Yeah. Well, you say that. I mean, the Brent Mason custom shop one, that was limited to just as few models as that. And it cost less than that, and it has a lot more fucking features on it. Those are still sat in shops. Guitar's still got one sat in the shop.
How many?
Peach guitars have still got one sat in the shop.
How many of them did they have though?
50, I think.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So, and I would have. Well,
but I would say direct sales and sales through.
They would have sold most of them. Yeah, but I think when you're doing a limited run like that, the idea should be they are all sold before they even hit the shops. They should all just be pre-sold. They should have just been bought. And if they're not, then you've made too many of them.
As far as Fender and Gibson are concerned, they are pre-sold because the dealers had to buy them.
Fair point, yeah.
They don't give a fuck. They really don't.
Yeah.
To the point where Gibson tell you what stock you're getting. That's the truth.
Yeah. Let's move on and do something not really related to guitar, but we like talking about video games.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was quite cool. So
the clash between the musician and the gamer. It's pretty interesting. This techno musician is releasing his upcoming album on a Nintendo 64 cartridge. Yes, it's an actual album. And you need a Nintendo 64 console to play it. Okay.
That's a fucking novelty.
That is hipster.
Vinyl's coming back. There's talk of things like cassette coming back.
Cassettes never died, bro.
Yeah, good point.
PaRtY-CaNnOn sell cassettes. And have done for a while.
Well, maybe you should move over into the N64 cartridge market.
I've got to do one better. I'm going to do PlayStation 1 memory cards. No, fucking Sega Dreamcast memory cards with a wee screen on them.
The VM units, yeah.
They were class, by the way.
I actually like those.
Way before its time, that fucking console.
Super before its time.
Anyway.
Great. I remember playing Resident Evil Code Veronica when it came out on that, and just being able to look down at my controller with the VM unit on it that had my health status on it was like, that's cool.
It was really cool. There was a few games that had that in it. Or had like those kind of
integration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't mean. Was it Fantasy Star Online? I think was a friend of mine used to play. One of the first online games I ever seen on console. And Jet Set Radio Future.
Right.
Remember
yeah,
that one?
Yeah.
Spray painting and rollerblading,
Yeah.
and a couple other games. Man, that was a good experience.
Yeah. It's nice getting fucking old, isn't it?
I don't know about nice, but it's inevitable.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no control over it, sadly.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Onward marches the hands of time.
Yeah.
So
So
you want to read this?
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, as I know it's a short show anyway, so not reading things is probably making that worse for us.
Even better.
But I'll just bring the tweet up so people can see it
Cool,
because I think
let's do that.
I think it's interesting.
I think what I don't get about it is like, would that not have been really like a pure nightmare to even just to program?
Yeah, I don't know how you go about doing it, and I imagine you'd be severely limited on how many copies that you could actually, because you know you'd need the cartridges themselves.
To be fair to him though, even just having that is pretty minted. I'm not going to lie.
Let's have a look at this.
R64 Plus Edition, you get the Nintendo 64 cartridge and the limited blue 7-inch vinyl. Oh, PaRtY-CaNnOn are getting our first vinyls as well.
Why can I not?
Why can you not what?
Okay. So there was 100 made, and there's five of them remaining, and I can't seem to see a price
For what?
Okay, so it's a name your price, and it's €50 or more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Part of me's telling myself that I should buy this.
I
Just
think
so
it's
I can say I have an album on an N64.
It's a minted art project.
Yeah.
What you could do you want to press play on the one track that's there, and we'll have a quick listen in the headphones? Or have you only got one set plugged in?
I've only got one set in.
That's okay. Fuck it then.
And actually, they're not even plugged into that.
Even better.
I mean, it's techno, so I'm not going to buy it. Tell you what, if this was a metal album,
I'm just really interested to hear what he's done with it, because it must be pretty limited in what instruments he can use, although it is 64-bit. There's only so much
no,
of
yeah,
emulate.
that's a good point, because it's playing from within what the system is capable of playing back.
Mm-hmm. Although saying
you
that,
could
like,
store audio on the proper audio on the cartridge, I would imagine, but of course the technology back then, the nature of the cartridge was, but the amount of space on them was limited, was severely limited. That's the reason fucking Square, it was SquareSoft at the time, stopped producing, because back in the day, all the Final Fantasy games, they were Nintendo games. They came out on Nintendo, and when the N64 came out or was coming out, it was essentially saying, right, so see this Final Fantasy 7 that you're looking at making, it needs to go on a cartridge. Well, as we know, that went on 3 discs, three CD-ROM discs. So the limitations of cartridges was just absurd. And actually, when
the hardware,
you look back at the like catalogs from that era, look at the price of games like Street Fighter, you'd be paying like $100 for that. Because it was a more expensive cartridge, but it had more fucking storage in it. You found that games varied in prices in cartridge because more data meant more expensive cartridge. So yeah, very strange. Glad that era's gone.
Can you imagine you had it where people were making you pay more for longer films? There's more data on it. You have to pay more.
Yeah, that's a no thank you from me. So there's our techno musician. Let's do. Okay. I wanted to just mention this. I've not listened to the sample of this myself. I'm saving myself for the first of. April when this comes out. So Meshuggah announced.
That's not going to the 1st of April.
It is, yeah.
It is not.
Yeah, apparently so. April 1st, yes.
I will not take April Fool's Day as being the actual launch date for this album.
So what you're suggesting or positing is that what's going to happen is April 1st going to roll round, and Meshuggah are just going to post the troll face on their Facebook and be like, haha, joking, it's out in 6 months.
Or maybe they put it out like a day before or something. But don't tell Andy. I don't know.
I think I like my idea more. Just to really piss everyone off. Just a troll face on April 1st going, good luck guys, see you in 6 months.
You mad?
We're the new tool.
Here's a new Necrophagist album, and it just links you to Rick Roll.
Okay, I'll let you just read this.
Despite the you-know-what doing its round over and over again on the music industry, we're still fortunate enough to have some new music coming our way. And after some years of waiting, we're finally going to get a new Meshuggah album. Yes, your wishes are coming true. Yes. As the band revealed on their social media, the follow-up to 2016's The Violent Sleep of Reason is titled Immutable. The record comes out on April 1st, yes, April 1st, through Atomic Fire Records. The pre-orders will be available on January 28th. According to the Post, the album was recorded at Sweet Spot Studios in Halmstad, Sweden, with mixing done by Rickard Bengtsson and Staffan Karlsson, while the mastering was handled by Vlado Meller. I don't know how to get any of the names right, but it doesn't matter. Martin Hagstrom had this to say on the matter. The title fits perfectly for where we are as a band. We're older now. Most of us are in our 50s now, and we've settled into who we are. Even though we've been experimenting all along, I also think there's been the same since day one. The way we approach things, and why we still make new albums, and why we still sound the way we do, it's immutable. Humanity is immutable too. We commit the same mistakes over and over, and we are immutable. We do what we do, and we don't change. Ooh.
Yeah, so there is a preview, but as I say, I'm not going to listen to it.
I might listen to it at some point, but what I'm really interested in is I wonder if Per has any wee guesties on it.
It would be cool if he had a wee guest solo on it. And that was what I wanted to talk about with this. I think it would be really cool if he was just on it.
Mm-hmm. I'm also pretty shocked they're not recording in Frederick's studio, considering the effort he went to essentially building himself an Axe Effects analog with like 64 amps or something like that, through however many ampete switchers and different cabinets and
obviously really excited for this.
That's like a dream studio to be in, isn't it?
This is actually a really good example of what we were talking about at the start of the show. That idea of needing to expose yourself to music enough so you can, develop a palette for it.
Yes.
I remember hearing Meshuggah for the first time and going, no thank you, keep this away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And now Meshuggah was one of the bands that I recommended to our listening party friend on the Discord server, and I knew it wouldn't be for him, and I mentioned it, I suggested it as a joke, knowing I made it very clear, like, don't listen to this because you won't actually like it type thing based on what you're telling me you like, but I do keep throwing little jabs in of, when are you going to learn that you just need to put Meshuggah on and close your eyes and engage,
have some closed eye visuals,
engage your brain with the China symbol, and just let the groove hit you, and go into a state of meditation where everything just happens around you, and it's glorious. It's absolutely glorious. I absolutely love Meshuggah. It took me a while to get into them, but now,
I love a bit of Shug as well.
Top tier. But getting into Meshuggah may have been the reason I stopped taking interest in metal, because I just was very much of the opinion, it got to the point where it was like, well, that's metal completed. It doesn't get better than this.
Completed it, mate.
Yeah.
Between that and Necrophagist, I really hope that Necrophagist don't release any more music. I don't think they're going to, but I really hope they don't, because let's be honest, there's no chance that they're going to top the two albums.
Yeah. Just
because of the legendary status they now have. Anything they do, whether it be groundbreaking or not, won't live up to the hype that these original two albums did. I'm not even being silly. Like Epitaph and Onset of Putrefaction, just nothing's going to touch them. Every band that came out after that played anything that was anywhere near death metal wanted to be Necrophagist. Whether it was the production, the songwriting, the texture, the riffs, the solos, everybody was like, right, okay, this is a new level.
Yeah. I can't speak to any expertise on the subject. Death metal.
You're going to have to go and listen to some Necrophagist then.
Mellow death. I can do mellow death, but
such as In Flames.
Yeah. Or Arch Enemy.
Yeah. Early Arch Enemy.
Mid Arch Enemy.
Mid. Sorry, you're right. Because I'm not that bothered about like Black Star.
I want Angela on vocals, and I want Chris and Mike as a pair. I'm super into that.
Absolutely.
So stick Anthems on. Stick what's the one after that with the
Countdown
Rebellion?
Anthems
of the
Rebellion.
And then after that is the Doomsday Machine.
Yes.
Doomsday Machine. Great record.
Sorry. And what's the one after that again? That's
Wages of Sin. No, that was
not before. The one after that's the
Rise of the Tyrant.
That's decent. After that, no bothered.
So those are great records.
That Rise of the Tyrant's great. The production on it's really weird. The guitar tone's very HM2. You know what I mean? Like that kind of super chainsaw tone. But then Chris is fucking playing this absolutely ridiculous on it, man.
Big fan.
Ridiculous.
Okay, let's talk about Judas Priest. So this is a kind of 3-part story, right?
Okay.
I've only brought up the middle part. The story starts with the middle of last week, Judas Priest announcing that on their upcoming tour, they'll be touring as a one guitar band.
Right.
Just announcing that it will just be Richie Faulkner on guitar.
All right, cool, because that band that's always been famous for dual
yeah.
leads
Yeah.
and guitars playing off each other will sound great with one guitarist.
Exactly. So fans were obviously up in arms about this because it meant one of two things. It either meant that they were going to be playing as a one guitar band, so no harmonies and things like that, which would be bad, or they were going to be using a backing track for those second guitarists, which is just not cool. Like, just have a second guitarist. And I didn't really comment on it because I'm not really into Judas Priest, but I had to look at it, and the only way I could explain that is, for whatever reason, and I couldn't think what reason that would be, for whatever reason, Andy Sneap didn't want to do it, didn't want to go out on the road. Because I can't see a reason why Judas Priest would say, we're going to go out with just one guitar player. I can't see it. Can they not afford a second guitar player? Like, is that the problem? Do they think they sound better with one guitar player? They're all bad decisions. Nobody was going to be happy with that whatsoever. And then the middle part of the story, which is the part we're talking about, Sneap did come forward and give his side of things. So here we have it. Andy Sneap was incredibly disappointed by Judas Priest's decision to tour as a quartet, but respectful of their decision. So this was before the update. So
consummate professional at all times, Big Andy.
Yeah.
So Blabbermouth were talking to Andy Sneap, asking for a statement on it, and he said, Rob called me last Monday and said they wanted to move on as a 4-piece, which I find incredibly disappointing after this amount of time. But I respect his decision, as they obviously have a vision how they want this to play out. This always was a temporary situation, and like I've said before, I'll always help the band any way I can, and that applies going forward also. I've been a huge fan of the band since the early 80s, and it was mind-blowing to play on stage with the guys, and quite frankly terrifying in the beginning at such short notice. We're moving forward with the new album next month and look forward to making a killer follow-up to Firepower.
So
it's pretty strange that they would want to continue with him on recording the album, but then not take him out on tour, unless they just want to use Andy Sneap as the name for production.
Yeah, it's just, I'd love to talk to Rob Halford and just be like, help me out here. Where did this decision come from? Mm-hmm. What was the benefit of this? Because it can only be saving money. Surely it can only be saving money. You won't sound better as a 4-piece.
No,
maybe Andy and the band hate each other. You know, you just don't want to be on the road with him. But again, you make enough money, you're a big enough band that you can give him his own fucking bus.
I don't see that.
See the cunt.
I don't see that being the case either, because he seems like he's
totally.
very friendly. And look at you ingratiating yourself into the Scottish traditions of using the word cunt as just a general reference point.
I have lived here for like 7 years.
I know, but I never ever really hear you refer to someone as that cunt or this cunt or a cunt. Yeah. It's nice. I like it. Makes me feel homely and warm inside.
Good.
Right, anyway, go back to this cunting story.
Yeah, so it just, unbelievably strange to me. I don't know if Andy maybe made this statement in the hopes that it would influence things, because I think the right thing to do is to stay quiet, right?
I don't think he made it for that either. It sounds as if Blabbermouth have reached out asking.
Sure, but he chose his words, and like the only, if you were on the fence about it, like I was.
Mm-hmm.
I had made the decision, well, the only reason this would happen is if Andy didn't want to do it anymore. And I can't criticise him for that, like that's his decision.
Mm-hmm.
But Andy coming forward here makes the band look bad by saying, the band decided they didn't want to go out with 2 guitars anymore.
I don't think it makes it look bad. I get what you're getting at, but he's very diplomatic in saying, look,
sure.
we knew it was a temporary situation at all times, and it's cool, I still care about them, I still do everything I can, but I'm gutted that it's not happening.
Yeah, well,
I think he's just been pretty English about it.
It worked. This story worked. They've walked that back now, and they'll be going out as 5-piece with Andy Sneap on guitar.
Right.
Which
is there any justification given on that update? Because there's a link on the right.
Where
Judas Priest bringing back Andy Sneap for tour lineup continues 5-piece. That was only yesterday.
They did make a statement. Yeah.
I wonder why. So the band's official statement said, "Hello, Metal Maniacs. Given all that has recently evolved and transpired, we've decided unanimously as a band to continue our live shows unchanged, with Rob, Ian, Richie, Scott, Andy and Glenn joining us whenever he's able. So see you all soon as we forge ahead celebrating 50 massive heavy metal years of Judas Priest together."
No. With the majority of the band having not been there for those 50 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even Rob's not been there for all 50 years of it, right? So, but yeah, I'm not gonna. I'll poke fun, but I'm not gonna try and downplay how.
One night for a laugh.
No.
And that will be fun.
Yeah.
Watch him get his nipple pierced off of Jennifer Aniston.
I mean, I'll watch it just because Zach Wilde's in it.
I'll watch it because the vocals in it are class.
Yeah.
And you've got the wee surprise cameo from Miles.
Miles Kennedy, yeah.
where he completely out-sings the professional singer that was in to do the voice for Mark Wahlberg's character. I really, really love the tune "We All Die Young."
Yeah.
For that, it's so good.
I think all of the Steel Dragon songs on that were pretty cool. I learned most of them when I was a kid because why wouldn't I? It was Zakk Wylde.
I remember watching it and just thinking, "Oh, this is such a redneck," but it's definitely meant to be like an actual rock star's lifestyle.
So one of the comments on this story, someone, and I just have to agree with this, I can't fathom how they ever thought this might be a good idea. and that's it for me. I just can't fathom how they thought that was a good idea.
If you're going to bring somebody else into the fold that way, it's if they had maybe said they're not taking him back, but somebody else is going to come on the road with him, maybe a bit more.
No, actually that would be totally fair. That way I would get.
Even like...
Bring KK back.
Never going to happen.
Yeah.
Is it? Really?
It should, but bring KK back. That would be the right way to do things.
But it's not going to happen.
It's actually quite funny. I think a lot of the backlash, the fan backlash on this was, why would you get rid of Andy? Why would you? Not like fantastic. They've got rid of Andy. KK's coming back. Why would you get rid of Andy? Why would you get rid of Andy?
Why is a band that's known for dueling guitar leads and two guitarists playing off each other?
Yeah.
Touring with one guitarist.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our main story. It's not really a story in itself. I just thought it was nice, and I'm going to recommend that you go and check this video out on YouTube.
It's an interesting piece of history.
Yeah. So this heavily customized 1953 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top just sold for $35,000, and it has an amazing backstory. And I think that's the case here. So this is Linda Lee and her 1953 Gibson Les Paul Gold Top. I want to encourage everybody to go and watch this video.
Yeah, we watched it before.
I'm going to put a tiny clip of it on for
All right, here we go.
You're going to get fucked.
No, I won't. So it's not copyrighted. So there's a young man playing the guitar. As you can see, it's got these. For those of you that are watching, you can see it's got some switches on the top of it that she's modified and had put on there over the extremely long period of her career that she played this for.
Mm-hmm.
She's put a Bigsby trem on there. There's some cool stuff on the underside of the guitar. I would recommend people go and check this out because Linda talks in it.
And I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
And I thought it was really cool. She goes through a period where she talks about her life and her career.
It's a guitar with real heritage. I think that's what adds to the story, isn't it? She might not be a famous guitarist in terms of has a mega history or tenure, like as like a mainstream musician, but it's quite clear that she was a gigging musician.
Yes.
And this guitar has been through many, many times. At one point in it, she's talking about how she used to do 6 nights a week. That was how she went to work. And then she eventually started playing organ as well, and then playing the bass pedals and brought in other parts on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's cool watching her play that guitar and see it just kind of changing throughout the years in it.
Yeah.
And what's they called her? Windy Lindy or something? Because she never stops talking.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And that's the reason I want people to go and watch this video, right? I think that she is playing the Hammond organ. I think it's so unbelievably cool, and it actually gets me really emotional to watch somebody who's had a really long career like this talk about it and look back on it. And it just reminds you of the passage of time and the inevitability of not being here forever. This is cool, and people should get to tell their story more, especially when she's got a story. She's got a great story, and there's hundreds of thousands of people out there with stories like this, and they're all interested. And I would happily sit and listen to all of their stories because I bet she's got some stories. I bet she's got some tales.
I think on top of that, that's just a cool guitar.
Yeah.
I am not a Gibson person. I'm not a Les Paul person. I'm not really bothered about gold tops or P90s or Bigsby's.
I'm all of those things.
But look at that guitar. Not a single person on this planet can say, I don't want to play that.
Well, I can. I don't want to play that. I don't like Bigsby trems.
You're a fucking liar. You would play that if it was sitting in front of you.
I'd play it, absolutely. Exactly. Yeah. But
I'm not saying you're paying 35 grand for that.
I'd rather have an unmodified version of it. Yeah. So I'll bring up.
Is that so you can spend? So you can get more money for it?
No, not at all. Well, we talked about this before the show. So those selector switches that she's had put on there, so you could control. We don't know exactly what she did with those, but you could control outboard effects with it. There's lots of things that you could do with it. There's wiring that comes out the bottom of the guitar, so you could essentially wire them and to do anything you wanted. I imagine because she talks about having played Hammond organ and then moving over to playing Hammond organ foot pedals whilst playing the guitar. Having those switches there would have enabled her to do things like turn on the reverb on the amp or turn on the tremolo. She does mention the tremolo actually at one point. So without having to use a foot switch, because if you're playing bass foot pedals, you don't want to do that. So but in reality, we look at that and we're like, oh, you'd hit those all the time when you were playing. If you're old school like she would have been, she would have had that palm further back most of the time.
Oh, aye. That's been modified to suit her perfectly.
Yeah, which again is super cool. Just
Of course it is.
super cool.
The fact that somebody like, I like the guitar still got a good price. Obviously, it's good that she's made money on it or got some money back for it, including the heritage and the fact that it isn't original. But the article kind of pushes it as if, like, look at these really super ahead of their time modifications, and then doesn't really talk much about it. So I think it's good that you brought them up, and it's
gone?
super interesting.
I mean, I know it's sold, but I was hoping that the original listing might still be there.
Usually you can view them too, eh?
Yeah.
View. Oh no, that'll be the other one, isn't it?
Let's see if there's a link.
Yeah,
go.
it's still here. That's good.
Yeah, lovely piece of history. This.
It's cool, man. So I like the modifications look as if basically they've drilled 2 holes in the bottom of it, as if there's like 3 spaces for sockets to come out, which is cool.
I have to say, there's oh wow.
Has that full guitar been hollowed out, or has that been clamped onto the back to stop it getting scratched?
I don't know. Wow.
It's had some serious work, isn't it?
That's really cool.
And a headstock break.
Obviously, it's had a headstock break. Okay, no, so it's a plate that she would be able to take off so she could deal with the wiring options that she's had put in.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is kind of cool.
I love the lack of fucks that was given in modifying it. Obviously, that kind of thing doesn't really happen these days, considering people know the money that you can get for these guitars.
Yeah. One comment I will make about this though is, I'm not going to say I find it suspicious, because that's probably it's obviously a legitimate instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But for a 1953 Les Paul, gold top Les Paul, you expect this gold to mostly be gone from just playing it. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying maybe it wasn't played as much, because in those videos you can definitely see her with another guitar. She had a burst Les Paul.
Yeah.
So maybe this was a second guitar. Or seems unlikely based on the modifications she's done, or maybe it was refinished at one point to bring it back to its original sparkle.
I'm pretty sure that would have been put in the listing if it was. Go back to that wee ticket there and we'll read that out. Details about the Les Paul 1953 Gold Top. The guitar's history. Bought the guitar brand new in February 1953 in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Biles Music Company. The original owner and the only player of the instrument, serial number, blah blah blah. Bigsby tremolo was installed in place of the original trapeze tailpiece. I added the humbucking pickup P90s in the early 60s. The original neck, and there's a slight crack near the nut because I'd left it tuned to standard all these years and it'd been professionally repaired. It's not been dropped or broken. Gold Top has been professionally refinished.
Yeah.
Well spotted.
Yeah.
It's a player's dream customised guitar, not a collector's item. That's as much as I need to read on it. I like that. It's a player's dream guitar, not a collector's item.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah,
a collector's item.
To me,
the right one.
Yeah, to me that's an equally cool collector's item, because the story that an instrument is, given the choice, if you're going to give me a guitar, here's a free guitar, to give me a 1953 Les Paul, gold top Les Paul, that had just sat in a box since 1953, that would be cool. Don't get me wrong. But the history that this guitar has had is cooler to me, cooler than just a guitar that, if it was pristine, you'd be cool about the fact that, well, it's pristine and it's worth a lot of money. Whereas with this, I don't know, just the story that goes with it is just so much cooler.
Oh, there's such a cool heritage to it. I had to stand up and play a 4-hour gig in high spike heels, and it was hard to step in the reverb and vibrato foot switches, so there are toggle switches to turn on and off anything you would want to use with your right thumb. Clever.
Yeah.
Very clever.
So... yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool.
I'm going to buy this off the other owner for a couple of £100, and I'm just going to wire 2 HM2s into it.
I do think this is one of the coolest guitars that I've seen for sale in a long time. Because maybe I'm getting older. Maybe just the idea of nostalgia and stories and history of things is just really cool and exciting to me.
I think it's also nice to see a guitar like that sell for good money and go to the right person, rather than it being sold by some sort of fucking lot that's picked it up for it to go into somebody's cupboard. Yeah,
and I would love to. It would be really, really cool if maybe some old video footage of her playing back in the day started to surface. Let's have a quick browse of YouTube. Linda Lee.
What was the name of the band she played in again?
I don't think she named the band. Maybe she did.
She did mention something about her band, but it doesn't matter. I can't remember the name yet.
Yeah, there's no footage of her, which is You know,
you've got Linda Lee then, Albert Lee.
yeah. Who knows? Maybe at some point over the next couple of weeks, maybe because this video was only uploaded 5 days ago, and I'm not going to say it's gone viral. 25,000 views, more popular than anything I upload these days. But maybe someone sees this and goes, "Oh yeah, I remember the band that Linda played in. I have some footage," and maybe something that gets uploaded to YouTube. It would be really cool because again, I'm really drawn to the history and something like this and people's stories. I think old people with stories is just fascinating. I would happily sit and listen to old people tell stories. I don't know if you're the same as me on this respect, but like with grandparents, spending time with grandparents, my favourite thing. Experience with my grandparents, especially my gran, was just sitting and listening to her tell me stories of her youth, and wow, I heard the same stories over and over and over again.
And not once did you complain.
Not once did I ever pretend that it bothered me because I'm just happy to hear it.
Absolutely, like
and I know it's therapy for the person, isn't it? Just telling your story. It's nice to get your story out there. So.
It's beautiful, human connection.
Yeah. So I'm a compassionate human being sometimes.
When you want to be.
Yeah. So
that's not true. You are compassionate all the time. It just depends who it is and why.
Yeah. Compassionate to good people, and Linda seems like a good person. She seems like
egg.
a nice person. Yeah.
Linda, you can be an honorary guitar solo if you really want to be.
Honestly, I really mean this. I just want to know more about her now. I just want to know more about her. I want to know, like, you know, she met the guy that's selling the guitar in her local church. So he's not a relative. Like, what's the story? Did she have a family? Kids play guitar? Maybe not. Who knows? I want to know all these things. Does she like? Let's see if we can get her address, and we'll send her a copy of the new PaRtY-CaNnOn album on an N64 cartridge, along with an N64 to play it.
I was thinking we could send her Ormsby. The reason she's saying that's just too heavy on her shoulder now. You know what I mean? So we get a 7-string fan for it, the Goliath.
Yeah, she seems in that video. She seems incredibly happy, which is always the best thing. But of course, it's obviously very telling that she doesn't play the guitar in the video at all. So I imagine her playing days are long behind her. But maybe that's because she doesn't have. Maybe it's because she doesn't have like an Ormsby. Maybe she needs a Goliath. They sit well. They sit well on the body. They're very lightweight. Speaking of which, did you know? This show is brought to you by our friends over at Ormsby Guitars. We want to remind you guys that there is still time to get involved in the upcoming Run 16 guitars. Those include these incredible hypes available in 5 new colours. That Dragon Burst is absolutely stunning. You can also get your hands on one of the Metal X's, again available in a range of finishes. My personal pick has to be these headless Vs, absolutely outrageously cool. Imagine one of those in an 8-string, I absolutely love these. And finally, the Ando San signature model, available in 6, 7 and 8-string availability. Go and check them out at Ormsby's website right now. This show is also brought to you by our friends over at Rev Amplification, a one-stop shop for all of your tonal needs. Head on over to their website to check out their range of lunchbox amplifiers, both the D20 and G20, 20-watt amplifiers with built-in 2-notes torpedo technology so you can record direct into your computer. If that doesn't suit, you can also check out one of their highly popular G2, 3 and 4 pedals, giving you that trademark Rev tone in a stomp box. Incredible tones, I use these myself. And finally, you may notice in the back of these videos a Rev Generator 120, an absolute masterclass in modern electric guitar tones. Check it out at their site now. So as always, a huge thanks to our friends and family over at both Ormsby Guitars and Rev Amplification. Go and check those guys out, and maybe we can club together and get Linda Lee a lovely Goliath.
And a G20.
Perfect for it.
I used to play in all the clubs, but now I play death metal.
Absolutely fantastic. Like, yeah, I love this wee woman. She's my favourite person right now. So I want Linda, if you're watching, because I know you're probably watching, reach out. We'll do a wee Skype interview. It'll be fantastic. You can tell more of your story because I just want to hear some of your story.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. In fact, you know what? I'm going to reach out to Sean. Sean is the guy that plays in the video. He has a YouTube channel. Post an update soon with a big thank you. I'm gonna reach out to Sean, not for an introduction or anything like that, but like tell him the video is fantastic. But the most fascinating thing wasn't the guitar. The most fascinating thing was her talking and stories. Please do another video telling more stories. Please do one. I'd be all over that.
Tell us your favourite stories about using that guitar.
Yeah. Super into that. So anything to add?
No, just a big thank you everybody for listening yet again. Hopefully you're in the Monday Night Guitar Geek Club. I was trying to get in last week. I meant to mention it. For whatever reason, my phone would not load the live chat. It wouldn't let me go live. It was just showing me the comments.
Yeah, it's okay. We make fun of you all the time.
You should do it when I'm there as well.
Yeah,
I can take it to the face. It's all right.
absolutely. That is true. Cool.
Thick-skinned.
So head on over to not buy me a coffee. I have loads of ideas of ways that we're going to do stuff with this moving forward, but I've been busy, Mike's been busy. We don't never get the chance to fucking sit down and talk. We're both busy with shit. Something will come. Don't you worry about that. We'll work out a way to do this for you guys. Go and check out Volumes of Vomit. Go and check out Devin Townsend's 2 new albums and write us some fan mail. Let us know what you thought about either of those albums. Let us know about death metal, about genres, anything. Talk to us. Send us stuff because it engages us, gives us stuff to talk about on the show. We like that stuff. Mike, until next time.
Bye, fuckers.